Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Asia, and today I'm going to talk about my 5-star reads. These are books that I have read within 2 to 3 years. I would say mostly 2024 to currently. Have only 5 to talk about, so it's not going to be a long video, but I am going to have some honorable mentions because after some time has gone by, sometimes I'm not sure if it's a 5-star or if it's 4.5 or 4.75. So I'm going to also talk about some books that I think are amazing, but maybe I just for some reason couldn't get it to that 5. Well, I'm going to start this book off by a memoir that I listened to over 2 years ago. So I'm really surprised I put it on the list, but I thought it was so good, by Jennette McCurdy. Her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I remember listening to this book and just being amazed at listening to her story and how well she narrated the book. It was just amazing. Not the things that she went through, but understanding it. She wrote it so well and she narrated it so well. I just thought it was a great book. Next book, it might be a little controversial. It is a Colleen Hoover book, being November 7. This book, it did something to me. Back when I would listen to audiobooks all the time, I just remember like kicking my feet, giggling, like thinking it was just the cutest, the sweetest love story. Overall, I just absolutely love how it captured someone who is dealing with a lot of insecurities and meeting someone who makes her feel beautiful. I think that might be why I loved it so much. A little recap on what it's about. A girl meets a guy at a restaurant and they have a short-lived spark. They end up having to be separated because one of them is moving away, and they end up meeting every year on November the 9th, and it goes, you know, the span of years of them meeting on that day. It's a really good book. Third book that I have here is The Neighbor Favor. Came out in February of 2023. Starts out with email exchanges. One of them is an aspiring author and the other one is an author, if I'm remembering correctly. They end up emailing each other and becoming neighbors, and it's just written so well. I thought it was the cutest thing ever, and if I could recommend one rom-com, one romance book, it's probably this one. And the fourth book that I have on here might be one of my favorites. It is The Wish by Nicholas Sparks. This came out in September of 2021 and I loved this book. I listened to it and I read it physically, like kind of interchanging with those two, but it's about a woman. She has cancer, and in the beginning it talks about how she starts a YouTube channel. She starts making videos about it and they kind of go viral. Like, she gets a lot of views and support from her YouTube channel, and that ends up creating the space for her to meet somebody that she was destined to meet in a way. It's not really a romantic relationship between her and the person that she meets, but it explains how them meeting, how important it is. And this book really captivates like family relationships. I love the main character's relationship with her aunt. I feel like that really stood out to me. I remember somebody recommended to me this book and they said that it was good to read like in the winter, so I waited to read it in the winter and I just loved this book. And the fifth book that I have on this list before I get into my honorable mentions is The Great Alone. I just love this book. This book holds a special place in my heart. It's the first book that I read by Kristen Hanna. Came out in February of 2018, and it's about a family who ends up moving to Alaska, and every family has their problems, so it follows this family and theirs, and it was written so beautifully. It makes you really see what it would be like to live in Alaska. I just feel like I pictured it so well in my head from the way that she wrote it. I feel like I could imagine what it was like in Alaska, and I love a family dynamic. If it's written in a realistic way, I just love it. So this book I recommend if you're thinking about reading a Kristen Hanna book. I say start with this one. This is my favorite by her, and I've read 3 of her books. On to my honorable mentions, which some of them are 5 stars. I don't know how they made it to my honorable mention list, but I'll keep it going with Kristen Hanna, The Women. This book, it was very emotional. I feel like it really depicts the struggles that a woman goes through, more specifically this woman who went through the Vietnam War, and it teaches you about the Vietnam War because a lot of people don't know much about it, especially if you were born in the 90s or 2000s. Kristen Hanna just writes so well. She makes it seem as if you are there. So I just really love this book, and it's 5 stars. It's not an honorable mention, and neither is this next book, Night Road. I actually just made a video about this one, so if you're interested to watch that one, watch that one. Next one I have is Monday's Not Coming. This book, it was very emotional for me. It's about a girl whose best friend is missing, and it seems as if nobody cares more than she does about finding her, and it goes throughout the journey of that, and it really just, it's so heart-jerking because this is a reality for people, but it's a good book. And I listened to this book in audio, and it honestly felt like I was watching a movie. It was really good. And the next 2 I will put together, that being Finding 13 and Keeping 13. Another wonderful representation of a family dynamic, a slow burn relationship. I just thought the dialogue was amazing. I loved listening to the relationship grow between the main characters. I definitely shed a tear or 2, like with this one. I think that I couldn't bring it to a 5, I don't know, but I loved these books in the time that I read them. It's probably about a couple years ago that I read these books, but I just adored them. And the last book that I'm going to talk about is one of my favorites, so I'm not sure why it's on the honorable mention list, but it's A Love Letter to Whiskey. I adore this book. It's by Kandi Steiner, if I'm saying her name right. As soon as I read it, I couldn't put it down. I think this is one of the fastest books I've ever read, and I'm a slow reader, so I loved it. I couldn't put this book down, and I think the reason I couldn't give it a 5-star was because it's a 2-part book where the first half of the book, it is narrated by the female main character, and the second half of the book is narrated by the male main character. However, they're both telling the same story but in their own perspectives. It felt like I was reading the book all over again, or listening to the book all over again, because at that point that I got to the second half of the book, I just listened to it because I was not reading all that again. First half of the book, I just adored it, and I thought it was amazing, and I think that's why I couldn't give it the 5-star, was because the second half of the book just kind of threw me off. It's still one of my favorites, probably top 5 books that I have read. I just love that book so much. This was my list of my 5-star reads. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite book of all time? I think from this list, my top 2 are The Wish and The Great Alone, but I would love to hear about yours. So let me know in the comments, and if you would like, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.